Hey everybody, Very Good Mining here. Today we're diving into something a little different. I'm going to show you step by step how to build and scale up your own cryptocurrency cell phone mining farm using a Cellhasher. This is going to be an easy to follow start to finish guide with tons of tips and tricks. And by the time you're done watching the video, no matter what your skill level is, you should be able to set up and build one of these devices on your own. If you find the video helpful, please do me a favor and use the affiliate links in the description to purchase your Cellhasher device. It took a lot of research, trial and error, and time to make this video for you. So if you use those links, I will get a small commission, and that allows me to continue to make videos like this for you guys. Also, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend if you think they'd like it. I really appreciate your support. So with that being said, let's get into the video. First, let's start with what the Cellhasher is, why I decided to add this device to my crypto mining farm, where you can get one, and then we'll get into the setup and build. If you want to fast forward straight to the build, it starts at around the time that I'm showing on the screen right now. So what is Cellhasher? Cellhasher is a device that streamlines and optimizes your cell phone mining farm. It allows you to easily scale up from one phone all the way up to 20 phones, and it can all go into one single device. So the headaches of dealing with all the cables and wires of 20 phones, gone. The danger of overheating and exploding 20 different batteries, gone. The frustration of trying to cool off, store, and manage 20 different phones separately, gone. So the Cellhasher allows your device to deliver more compute power per watt because of the way it's set up. So this instantly makes your farm more profitable than the alternative. It'll keep your phone safe, cool, and allow you to easily and efficiently manage your cell phone crypto mining farm. So why have I decided to add this to my farm in the first place? Well, my electric rate is terrible. I've been on a quest to find the most efficient and profitable crypto mining rigs, and this device only takes about 100 watts and sometimes even less depending on what you're doing with it. It has potential to be my most profitable mining rig. Second, there are so many opportunities to catch projects early with this device if you're into the spec mining. I'll leave some interesting resources to help you find these types of opportunities in the description, and that way you can do your own exploring and maybe find some that you like on your own. Third thing, I love the idea of taking old used cell phones and turning them into a profitable passive income stream. You can buy cheap, old, broken phones that no one wants anymore. Cracked screens, dead batteries is no problem. If you follow my guide today, you can get those phones running in the Cellhasher and start mining some crypto with them. Fourth thing for me is GPU mining just isn't feasible at home for me anymore. I miss building rigs, tinkering, the excitement of taking old hardware that no one wants anymore and turning it into something useful and profitable. So I miss those things. That's one of the reasons why I'm excited to get into cell phone mining with the Cellhasher. So where can you get the Cellhasher? Well, you can get a Cellhasher using the link in the description, and you can get them unloaded or preloaded. So I'm starting with an unloaded Cellhasher today and adding in Orbic Joy phones that I bought used off of eBay for around like $25 to $30 per phone. If you want to buy new phones for your Cellhasher, I'll leave an Amazon affiliate link in the description to another phone that is highly recommended in the cell phone mining community. I'll also leave links for tools and supplies that'll come in handy when working on your cell phones and the Cellhasher itself. Now, if you don't want to get into the nitty gritty and build one of these for yourself, you can also buy the Cellhasher that is completely pre-built, loaded with phones, and ready to mine. Like I said, I'll leave links to both of those in the description of the video. Okay, so let's get into the build. First, of course, you're going to need to order the Cellhasher and some cell phones. Apple phones are not recommended, by the way, by the Cellhasher team, so stick with Android phones. Although it's not entirely necessary, I would highly recommend using the same model phones across your build. There can be variations in voltages on different phone models, and that can create issues trying to match the power supply voltage on the unit. You need to match the power supply voltage on the unit to the phones. So when you're trying to scale up and add more phones, it's just easier to use the same model. I personally will be using the Orbic Joy cell phones. These phones offer a great balance of performance at a relatively low cost per phone. Okay, you've got your Cellhasher and the phones are sitting in front of you. Now you need to download an app called DevCheck. We are going to run this app to check the voltage of our phones while running compute heavy applications. And that basically just means you want to run the cell phone and check the voltage while you're mining whatever crypto you plan to mine. Orbic Joy, the phones run around 4.3 volts at full compute power. So we'll use that information in the next step when we adjust the voltage on the power supply to match our phone's voltage. You can download DevCheck from Play Store, or if you don't want to download, if you don't want to log into Play Store on all 20 phones, I'll leave a link in the description where you can download it directly from a website called APK Pure. Now that you've determined the voltage your phone will require, we will make some adjustments to the Cellhasher's power supply. So now it's time to do some tinkering. Okay, it's a good idea to take a picture real quick of the way everything looks before you start disassembling, but we're going to need to take the power supply out. We're going to need to change it from 220 to 110 volt in my case, because I'm going to be using this on a regular outlet. If you guys are leaving it on 220, then you can leave the power supply set to 220, but we're also going to want to make sure we're adjusting the voltage on the power supply to match the phones, like I said earlier. So I'll show you how to do that real quick. Okay, we're going to flip the Cellhasher over, just kind of slowly and carefully flip it over, and then you'll see these 4 screws right here. I'm going to take those out, and then we'll unplug the connections for the power supply so we can remove it and open it up. I'm just going to hold on to the power supply just so it doesn't kind of fall out. You know, I'm going to hold this just gently while I'm unscrewing these screws from the bottom. Okay, power supply is loose in there, but I'm gonna go ahead and remove these little racks. You probably don't have to do this, but I just want a little more room to shoot the video so I can show you guys a little more clearly what I've got going on. So you don't have to remove these racks, but I'm going to for the purposes of the video. Okay, we're just gonna unplug here, unscrew these here, and we're gonna pull that power supply out. The cover to the power supply is held on only just by this one screw right here. If you want to slide the entire board out, then we start unscrewing some screws from this side, but this screw alone should allow us to flip the cover open so we can adjust from 240 down to 120. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna switch this down to the 120. Let's see if I can do it. There we go. Okay, 115. So now we need to adjust the voltage. So I will show you guys how to do that in the next step. So now we got the cover off. I'm gonna show you right here is a little plastic screw. We're not gonna adjust anything right now. I just wanted to show you where it was while we were close up. You're going to need to get a small screwdriver, and if you need to drop the voltage, you're gonna go counterclockwise. To increase the voltage, you're gonna go clockwise. So we're gonna put this back in with the cover off and re-screw in the wires and plug everything back in so we can test the voltage that it's outputting, and I'll show you how to do that in the next step. We're gonna plug everything back in. We're not gonna put the cover back on though, so just be careful because you can short stuff out. I don't have this plugged in right now. I'm just putting everything back the way it was without the cover on. Once you do that, we're gonna plug it back in, and then we'll do some testing to see what the voltage is. Okay, we've got everything plugged back in and screwed back together, and I plugged it into my 110 home outlet. The moment of truth is we're gonna turn on the actual power supply here, and then we're gonna test the voltage with our voltmeter. So this is the way I have mine set up. I have it set to 10. So we'll see what it shows up on the screen here. And then, like I said, we're gonna make some adjustments right there. If we need to, if you have a cell phone that is out of the voltage range, this Cellhasher unit comes with another potentiometer that can adjust the voltage a little higher if need be. So don't worry if you get a cell phone that has a higher voltage, you can adjust it. Let's go ahead and turn it on. Fans are spinning, so we're looking good there. So now we're going to connect our voltmeter, and I'm going to try not to drag any wires over the fan blades, but you'll see on the motherboard a positive and negative marking. So what you need to do is make sure that you have your positive and negative probes touching the right thing, or it will short out. I'm gonna flip this on its side so you can see a little better what I'm talking about. So you can see on the motherboard the positive and negative markings, like I said. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to get this where you can see how it shows up on the voltage meter. So I'm touching the red to the positive, coming in from the top, touching the black to the negative. It's hard to get to while I'm videotaping and all. There we go. Okay. So you can see on my voltage meter, we're right around, looks like a little over 5 volts. So we might have to adjust that down. So I'm gonna go ahead and adjust this down just a tiny bit, and we'll see where we land. Like I said, I want to get around 4.3 or 4.4 volts for the Orbic Joy. It'll be different for you guys based on your voltage and dev check. Okay, I just wanted to show you guys really quick what it looks like in real time while you're adjusting this, so hopefully I don't short anything out, but see, you can see my voltage changing here. And turn it up. You can even hear the fans kind of ramp up as you're adjusting it upward. But I'm going to adjust it back down to 4.4. I am going to have to swap out the potentiometer because I need a slightly lower voltage than what I was able to achieve. So I had to take off the panel again, and I had to unscrew a bunch of screws to get this board to lift out. So there's 2 screws here and here that you're gonna have to remove, and it says caution, high voltage inside. Do not remove this cover, qualified personnel only, but you should be fine if you're careful and you follow what I'm doing. And then you'll see there's a lot of screws around the like the exterior of this that you need to remove just so you can lift this thing up and out. So that's not hard. The hard part is we're gonna have to desolder the old potentiometer, and it's not really even that hard. There's just 3 points that need to be desoldered. So you get your soldering iron warmed up, and then we will warm these up, pull this off, and we're gonna pop the new one on that came with the kit, the blue one that can get the lower voltage. Okay, so there's the old one. Pull the old one out, pop the new one in. The new potentiometer is in, so we'll recheck the voltages, make sure where we want to be for whatever cell phones we're using. Then we'll put everything back together. It looks like we are right almost exactly where we need to be. I want to be to that first red line past the 4, and that should be 4.4 volts. So I'm just going to turn it up, show you guys the difference. So you can hear the fans ramping up, and you can get all the way up to probably like 5.25 volts right there at the max. And then if I go all the way back down to the very lower that this potentiometer is capable of, we're down to 4.25. So I want to go a little higher than that. I want to get just above that first red line on my meter. And it's easier probably if you have a digital meter. For now, this is what I've got. Digital meter would be better, but I'm right where I want to be. Should be around 4.4 volts right there. So I'm glad I took the time to swap out that potentiometer, and now you guys got a chance to see what you would need to do if your phone was in a different voltage than what came with the power supply. So there you go. Not too hard. Now I'm just going to put everything back together, and then we will move on to the next step.
Okay, next we need to go ahead and hop into our phone, and we need to change some settings around so we can enter developer mode, so we can enable USB debugging on these phones so we can access them. I'm going to use my computer that I'm logged into here to access the Cellhasher later, and it'll be easier if we do each phone that we want to set up ahead of time. So I'm going to show you how to do it real quick on this phone. Sorry to interrupt your video, but a quick word from the sponsor of the video, CryptoMiner Bros. CryptoMiner Bros has the best miners from the best brands in the industry. They've got Bitmain, Ice River, Canon, Goldshell, Bitdeer, Volkminer, AlphaPex. You name it, they've got it. And the prices that you see on the website are the prices shipped to your door. And if you're looking for an even better deal, you can use discount code GREATER for $70 off each miner in your order, or use the link in the description. The other cool thing is they have a section called offers that I like to show. And this is great because they have flash sales on certain miners that are popular, like the Canon Avalon Q, very popular home Bitcoin miner. They've got the Volkminer D1 Lite Dogecoin miner. Just check out the offer section, and don't forget you can use discount code GREATER for $70 off your order. Thank you, CryptoMiner Bros, for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to your video. I'm just going to drag the mouse down so we can start getting into where the settings are. Click on the cogwheel, click into About Phone, and then scroll all the way down to where it says build number. Now it's going to tell me I'm already a developer, but you're going to click on this build number 7 times in a row, and then it'll make you a developer, like enter you into developer mode on the phone. I've already done this, so that's why it's saying no need, you are already a developer. Okay, you're gonna go back to settings. You're gonna scroll down to system, click into system, click into developer options, scroll down again all the way to USB debugging. I already have mine activated. So just turn USB debugging on. Okay, you're going to repeat those steps for whatever amount of phones you're going to be using in the Cellhasher. The next thing we're going to do is the fun part. We're going to disassemble the phones. We're going to remove the batteries. We're going to wire up new cables so we can plug them into the Cellhasher. We're going to pop them in the Cellhasher. So let's go ahead and disassemble the phones to get started. I'd highly recommend either buying the phone disassembly kit from Cellhasher when you order your Cellhasher, or if you already ordered one, you can check the links in the description. I've got Amazon affiliate links for phone disassembly kits and things like that. For now, I'm using just like a razor blade, some screwdrivers, and the SIM card removal tool actually came in handy too. First thing you need to do is pop your SIM card tray out. Get that out of the way. Then I took a razor blade and just gently pried the case open towards the front where the screen is. There's a small gap. Once you pop it open a little bit with the razor blade, I was able to actually just take a guitar pick and run it around all the way around the whole cell phone. And it was able to loosen up the case enough where I could take the casing off the back and remove the entire back to access the battery. The glue that holds the battery in is very strong. I use guitar picks again for this, and then I would recommend using some isopropyl alcohol just to kind of like loosen the glue up. See that gray pad that's sticky right there that I just touched? It is very sticky, and that is where you can kind of concentrate and like just maybe squirt a tiny bit of isopropyl alcohol. It can loosen up that glue, but I didn't use alcohol to do this. I just kind of very patiently used a guitar pick to pry the battery up enough where I could get my hands under it and remove it. In order to get access to the BMS cable, it's connected to the board that's behind this backplate. So we're gonna have to unscrew all these screws. There's, I believe, 8 of them in total. So I'm just gonna fast forward through this so you guys don't have to watch the whole thing, and we'll take the backplate off. Okay, you've got the battery out. Now we need to cut through this yellow plastic film that is covering the BMS cable, and it's these 2 contact points that are attached to the battery. We need to remove this whole cable from the battery. So I'll show you guys, like, you just kind of very carefully cut the plastic and unfold this cable away from the battery. Now we can cut through the plastic, remove it completely, and then we're going to cut these 2 contact points. We are going to snip these or cut them. I was able to just cut it with a razor blade. Now, these are going to be the contact points where we are going to wire up a positive wire and a negative wire that will plug into the Cellhasher. So we are going to wire up this BMS cable to a adapter that plugs into the Cellhasher. If there's any residual solder, clean it off. I just scraped mine off with a razor blade, so I had a nice clean connection point so we can solder the wires. Okay, just to double check, I wanted to make sure I knew which was the positive and negative. You can see on the motherboard it says positive, negative, and the positive wire is the one that has the white stripes on it. So I'll pull it off so you can see what I'm talking about. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. The white stripes is the positive wire. We're going to solder it to this connection. I keyed up the pad that we're going to be soldering to just to make sure the solder has something to grab onto. Don't forget the white line is the positive wire, and it goes towards the BMS connector where it attaches to the motherboard. So to see that L shape at the end, that pad is the positive pad. And then we will solder the negative wire to the one that goes on the very end that you see right there. Okay, so now you got the positive wire and negative wire soldered to the cable. We can secure it with either electrical tape, or I'm going to use some heat shrink tubing. I just feel like that's more secure. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I've got the cable soldered and heat shrinked, and then I've got the cable reattached to the board. I snipped the back plate down just so there's enough room for me to put this back on and screw this down, because this holds that wire in place on the board. The reason why I'm assuming we clipped the rest of this backboard off is probably to help with the cooling. So I'm just gonna
pop these 3 screws back in, make sure that the cable's secure. Then I'll probably just tape this back over. And actually, this area right here where the battery was is still pretty sticky, so I'll probably just use some electrical tape and make it a little neat so the wire's out of the way and secured. Then we will plug this into the Cellhasher. Okay, there it is. Check out my handiwork. I've got the wires electrical taped down, and I'm going to now install these stubbies that come with the kit. There's a USB stubby with a USB-C input for the Orbit Joy phones. So we're gonna just plug that in. We're gonna plug in the BMS cable, and we're gonna just slide the phone forward until we can get it to pop into the USB-C. So let me just go ahead and plug in the cable on the motherboard first here, the BMS cable. I think it'll be easier to get before I slide the phone into the USB-C. Okay, yep, that's in. Now we're gonna slide this phone forward until we connect it to the USB-C. There we go. Okay, so that should be it. Next, we're going to download the Cellhasher control app, and we're going to plug this into the computer, and we're going to see what it all looks like. So let's go ahead and head over to the computer, and we're going to power this thing on, and hopefully everything works. And then we'll show you the Cellhasher software and everything too. Okay, it's the moment of truth. We've got the cell phone that we prepped in the Cellhasher. We've got the cable that is included with the Cellhasher plugged into my desktop where we prepped everything on the computer earlier like I showed you. So let's go ahead and fire this thing up, and fingers crossed, no smoke. 1, 2, 3, do it. Okay, we're powering up. Let's give it a minute, and then we'll hop into the computer and we will download the Cellhasher software.
Quick tip before we move on, install the cell phones where you can access the power button on your cell phones, because when I first plugged my phone in and went to the computer, it wasn't doing anything. And the reason why is because the phone wasn't on. So make sure, I would recommend installing them where the power button is facing upwards, so you still have access to it if you need to turn it on. And in my case, I did. So here we go. Let's go ahead and go back into the computer. Okay, so we got the Cellhasher fired up, and it's waiting for us to connect to it with our computer. So we need to download the software. We're in GitHub. I'll leave the link to this in the description. And don't forget, you can find all these documents and instructions and things like that on Cellhasher's website. They have a Cellhasher docs section. So if you're having a hard time, you can find all the stuff on their website as well. So I was told by Luke Wright, the Cellhasher owner, that for now it might be a good idea to skip the beta version. This is their latest version, and it has all kinds of cool stuff, but they're still working on it. So I'm going to go ahead and download the latest version that's stable. So we're going to scroll down. You can check all this out. It's really cool what they've got going on. This is what will be in the beta version. And if you decide to use the beta version, if you have any bugs, just report them and suggest new features, and that will help them improve over time. So we're going to skip the beta version for our install. We're going to go with the most recent stable version. So beta Cellhasher controller v0.3. Check out the GitHub in general, like read through any README files and check out the features of whichever edition you decide to download. We're going to click on assets to open up the assets. We're going to click on Cellhasher controller.exe, and we're going to go ahead and download that. I've already downloaded the SCR CPY. I believe I mentioned that earlier in the video, but you'll need to download this as well. Okay, you've downloaded those 2 files. Now we need to make some changes. We're going to go to this cogwheel for settings. We need to set SCR CPY binary path. So we're going to go find the file that we downloaded and plug it in here. It's a .exe file for SCR CPY. So go ahead and find that file right there. You're gonna have to dig through your folders to find that. Hit open and then hit save. Okay, let's go back to the main page, and then we're going to go to view grid. And within here is where I got everything set up pretty much for my miner to start mining. This cell phone's mining currently. My number 11 that I showed you guys, I set up and plugged in and everything. I got it all running. So I'm going to change a few settings. Some of these might not be necessary, but I set it up this way and it's working perfectly. So I don't want to mess with a good thing. I'm just going to show you guys how to set this up the way I did it, and it's working perfectly. So let's go ahead and change the battery temperature. Since there's no battery anymore, the device might be confused, thinking like, hey, this thing shouldn't be working properly. But I think I put like 32 degrees, something like that. I believe around there is the normal temperature, like up to 35 degrees is like a normal battery temperature for a phone. So I put 32 and I hit submit. Then I went to battery level and I typed in 70 and I hit submit. And that way the phone doesn't think that the battery's gone. It just thinks the battery's perpetually at 70%. Here's where you're going to configure your Wi-Fi. You're going to punch in your Wi-Fi router's name, and log in all the information like the password. And then once you hit submit, it will link your phone to the Wi-Fi. Next, we're going to go into settings, that cogwheel again. We're going to click up here where this little hammer and wrench is, and we're going to set up our miner settings. So click select miner, go to Verus, and I've already got my address punched in here. If you want to get a address for Verus mining, I use Verus Mobile. It's easy. You can download it from the Play Store. If you are, like I said, a very, very new to this, you can watch my video I'm showing on the screen right now. That will help you get set up Verus mining in the first place with an address and a pool and everything like that. Otherwise, you can just download the Verus Mobile app and get yourself a receive address and punch it in here. This is your receive address. Then I'm using Viper Pool. You can punch in whatever pool you want to use here, but here's the Stratum TCP for like the Southeast United States. You can also go to viper.net and look up the Verus mining pools and check your ping on the pools. And I'll show that on the screen real quick so you can see what that looks like. And then threads set to 8. And then I just set my device and worker name to 11 because that is where it's slotted in on the device. And then I'm setting this as active. I'm hitting enable this miner for quick start because now we can toggle the cell phones on and off to start mining or stop mining with a pickaxe on the main screen. And it's recommended to set this up before you run your scripts. And the reason why is it sounds like sometimes the scripts don't grab this information, if you know what I mean. Like you will set up in the script this same information, but as a backup and to make sure it works properly, I would recommend doing this first, setting up your address, your pool, the threads, and the name of your worker, and enable this miner for quick start here, and then hit save settings, and then we will run our scripts. I just wanted to show you really quick what I was talking about. We set up the address just now and the stratum and everything, and this is that little pickaxe that I was telling you about that allows you to toggle the mining off and on. So make sure you click that check mark that I showed you and set up everything properly like I just showed you, and then you'll be able to easily toggle mining off and on for your whole farm. This is the fun part right here. So clicking on here, it says select script. All I had to do was use one of his pre-made scripts. I hit select, I scroll down to Verus setup, and then you punch in your mining address. And the only thing I'll say is like I couldn't copy and paste it in. It wouldn't let me paste it in for some reason. So I had to manually punch in my mining address. I manually punched in Viper Pool Stratum, and I set the number of threads to 8. I hit run, and then let me show you what it looks like. I'll show you on the screen. I recorded it while it was working its magic. So the script is running all kinds of things in the background to get this phone to mine optimally, and I didn't have to do anything. It just ran the full script after I punched in the mining address, the pool, and the number of threads, and then I hit run. Let me show you what it looks like now that it's mining. I'm going to click here where it says mirror device. So we can click mirror device, and there you have it. It is mining. I am getting accepted shares. Okay, here I am on viper.net, and you can see my active worker is number 11. I previously had them just named as Orbic 1, Orbic 2. I had my S21 Plus mining Varus 2 for a while. So now you see, just from running that script, I have my active worker number 11 currently getting 5.2 mega hash, not bad. And we are mining Varus with this cell phone. Another thing you can try is optimize devices. So I just clicked on optimize devices. I don't know what witchcraft happens in the background. All I know is I clicked on this. My cell phone started running some commands on it. I could see it actively running commands. It restarted itself. And then a little while later, I went and checked the pool, and I was getting over 6 mega hash per second on my hour average, 6.42 mega hash per second. I was getting as high as like 8, I think. At one point, it was like 7.5 to 8 mega hash per second for a little while. So my average is over 6 mega hash per second after optimizing it. And you guys can see in previous days, this was kind of like what I was getting with one of my cell phones. When I ran the standard generic APK on my Varus phone that I set up before, it was like a very generic program, not optimized. It was just, you could use it on almost any phone. So I was getting like maybe around 4 mega hash or so. Now I'm getting like 6 to 8 mega hash, and average is definitely over 6. So that is very impressive, and I'm very happy about that. Basically, using the Cellhasher and the Cellhasher software, I'm saving watts by removing the battery and shutting down the screens. And I'm optimizing the phone to run a higher hash rate with less wattage, so I'm automatically more profitable. So now you guys can see how easy it would be to do the next phone. I should be able to just keep adding phone after phone after phone to this thing. Okay, so now I'm back in the Cellhasher with the screen mirroring. You know, we're getting accepted shares. There's a ton of other stuff you can do. I'm not going to be able to dive deep into all this because this video is already long enough, but there's tons of stuff you can hover over and check out. Optimize devices. You can view all the devices once you start adding more phones in. We're back on the main page, and I want my screen to sleep. As you can see on the screen right now, the cell phone screen in the Cellhasher is awake because I woke it up with mirroring it and everything like that. So I want it to go to sleep. So I'm going to click on this icon right here, and it should set the screen to fall asleep. There we go. Now it's sleeping. So that will save us some wattage as well. And it's great because you can do this for all 20 phones. It will set all of your phone screens to go to sleep, and the application is still running in the background. A few more things I wanted to mention. The Cellhasher, when you set it up, make sure that you set it up on whatever computer you plan to manage the Cellhasher with. If you think you might use a few different computers to manage things, you need to manually go through and allow access on each phone to each computer that you might use. So just think about that ahead of time when you're prepping your phones and getting ready to like take the battery out and everything like that. Before you do all that, connect it to each computer that you're going to use in your house to manage the Cellhasher and allow the access on the phone, and make sure you click always allow, and then you won't have to do it anymore. I wanted to thank your friend Andy for introducing me to Luke Wright and Cellhasher when we were at a crypto conference recently. So I really appreciate that. Andy finds really great passive income plays and projects and different mining equipment just like this. Check out his club, ZZZ Money Club. I'm a member, and there's tons of value here. He has so much to offer, and including sections for spec mining plays and things like that. So check out ZZZ Money Club. The link's in the description. Also, check out Luke Wright Main. His YouTube videos have helped a lot with setting up the Cellhasher. He is the owner of Cellhasher. So make sure you subscribe to your friend Andy and Luke Wright Main. There is a ton more that you can do with your Cellhasher. If you want to check out more, go to the website linked in the description for Cellhasher. It's the official website, and it is my affiliate link. I really appreciate if you use it, if you decide to buy one. It took a long time to do this video. This video is 30 minutes long, fully edited, and that takes a lot of time and effort, and it's a new project. I had to do a lot of research and a lot of tinkering. So I really appreciate if you guys support the channel by using the affiliate links. Hit the like button and subscribe also. That helps a lot. But check out Cellhasher's website for more information in their docs section. Like this section here is very helpful. Tons of information on what all the different features do, what all these little different buttons do. I could only go so far into this because, like I said, this video is already 30 minutes long, but we successfully built and set up our Cellhasher to mine Varus coin in this video. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see further content like this, because I will be tinkering with this. I will be adding more phones. I will be trying out other algorithms as time goes on. If you found the video helpful, please hit the like button. Like I said, use the affiliate links. And last but not least, don't forget to keep it decentralized for the greater good. The greater good.